Hi everyone, it's Anne. Well, it's officially fall or autumn. It's really hard to believe, especially when I see butterflies pollinating the zinnias and obviously still feeding off the nectar in all of the flowers. It's such a beautiful sight to see. Even though it's already fall, we've still had some very warm days, but until recently, on the weekend, it went significantly cooler. On Sunday, we started to experience the typical fall rainy day, and in the forecast, it looks like we're about to have a few days in a row of rain, which is very welcomed since I think we're all starting to lose the momentum of having to water our gardens. I especially, because I hand water my garden, I'm looking forward to some rain and slowing down a little bit. I've started to clear some of my garden beds. You'll see that I cleared away the bed at the front of the cut flower garden that had some squash and some zucchini, and most of all the little baby pumpkins that unfortunately took over the bed. And when it finally got a lot of powdery mildew, I finally harvested the last couple of pumpkins and cleared the bed. You'll see a few sunflowers that are still remaining. It was wonderful to see this monarch butterfly repeatedly visiting my garden. I think I saw it at least 2 days in a row. It was so beautiful to see, especially since I hadn't seen very many this summer until now. One of the basic chores I was able to accomplish was to finally wash all of my garden gloves and, of course, cut a few arrangements. So I haven't shown the front garden here around my mailbox very often, but I wanted to share my cone flowers that I had planted last year and a few small sedums, autumn joys that I had planted bare root this spring. And here are the cat's pajamas nepeta that I just cut back yesterday. They were turning a little brown and thought it was time. And here is the update on my front bed that I call my peony garden, where I planted some new lavender and also some gold coneflower. I had planted 2 of them, and one of them seems to be struggling. My Snapdragons in the pot are still doing well, and the fall urn that I had planted, I had a little issue. It seems a brown squirrel had dug up the kale and dropped it on the ground or on the patio, and so as a result I had to put the cloche on top just to protect my newly planted annuals there.
Hi everyone, it's Anne at Martin House Flowers. Hope you guys had a great weekend. It's Monday afternoon. I took a break from doing any video. It's been a really funny weekend. We had a super hot Saturday. It was almost 90 degrees, hot and humid. We wanted to, we had the neighbors over Saturday night, and we wanted to have a little, do some s'mores on the fire, on our little gas fire pit there, but it was so hot and buggy out. The mosquitoes were out, so nobody wanted to venture, and so we just had the friends come inside, and I made a really nice pumpkin square recipe with cream cheese icing and cream cheese with fresh whipping cream mixed in, so it made it a little lighter. But anyway, that was delicious, and it must have been a success because 3/4 of it is gone. I kid you not. I think the kids had it for breakfast this morning before going to school. So anyway, I wanted to get out here because it is a beautiful, cool 67-degree day. It looks really cloudy up there, but the sun is kind of glaring. So I have my my glasses on because I'm squinting otherwise. And so I wanted to show you, these are the gold medal tomatoes. And this is probably the 3rd harvest we've had. And I only, from seed, planted maybe six containers of tomatoes. And I'm pretty sure there was probably 1 or 2 plants of this variety. And so it was, needless to say, extremely successful. I'm going to go over my seeds today in this video, talk a little bit about what was super successful in my growing season this season, and from spring to into late summer, September. As you can see here, I think I'll have to turn it around in a minute, but my marigolds, I have, I believe, 3 different kinds of marigolds. They've just been so floriferous and so prolific, and I'm certainly going to repeat a couple of them. Tomatoes, I need to cut back. I don't need to have this many. Greg felt that this raised bed, it's I think a 2-foot high raised bed. He felt that I had overplanted the flowers, and but I do that intentionally. Number one, it looks prettier than a bunch of vegetables that get very dried up and bug filled and eaten, and they're just sort of unattractive. But it also deflects a lot of the aphids and bugs from getting your tomatoes and your peppers and your vegetables. Like it actually acts as a kind of distraction. So marigolds are really good for that. You know, and my lettuce was really successful, came and went. I was going to do some more lettuce, but in my raised bed, my lower raised bed, my 1-footers out here where my little baby poop pumpkins were, but the rabbits are still rampant, and I'm afraid that the fact that I had a ground squirrel come up in this 2-foot raised bed and come up and decimate 2 or 3 rows of lettuce, my first spring crop of lettuce. Luckily, I had some backup on this side. But anyway, since those ground squirrels were so aggressive at eating those, I anticipated it would be even worse. So let me continue doing this, and then we'll have a chat in the greenhouse, and we'll go over my seeds and what I was able to pick. So thanks for joining me. And if you like this video, I hope you will consider subscribing and liking it and sharing it. Thanks again. So here are the marigolds. You can see 2 different colors or varieties. And on this side are the white ones. And what I found about these white ones, and they're not really white, they're more of a kind of a cream color. They seem to get more bug infested, and I think that is pretty common with a lot of white flowers. And as you can see here, they attract aphids, and it's pretty much kept my tomatoes healthy. And there's some nasturtiums that have survived, and the nasturtiums are also really helpful at keeping the bugs away from your vegetables. And I've harvested, I was really surprised at these, at the status, because it's pretty much the end of it, but I just threw down probably 5 or 6 plants along the edge there, and I have harvested from there, so I'm definitely going to want to repeat status. I had just done a little 6-pack, a little mini 6-pack, and ooh, look at that bee trying to scare him away. Anyway, I had just put a little 6-pack tray the smallest little seedling tray and put those 6 little plants in there and pretty much let them almost dry up on my potting bench. And yeah, anyway, when I finally planted them, they did really well. So they dry up really nicely and maintain their color. You'll see on my hydrangea wreath that I put in on the door of the greenhouse that I've had to put some status on there just to add color. So there are some bloom-struck hydrangeas that are underneath that my guest room window. And last year when I dried those, they went purple. So I didn't do as much of the coffee grinds as I did previous years. But I also did use some soil acidifier. So I'm going to cut a few of those stems and see what happens to those. I can show you some of the stems from last year that still maintain their color. I'm going to do a little bit of harvesting of not just the cut flowers, but also some of those little limes and some of the bloomstrucks so that I can have some dried flowers for the fall and winter. And to the left there is the original zinnia bed that's pretty much a lot of dried up stems there. So I'm anticipating that to be done in another week or so. But these are all direct sowed zinnias over here. And I think I collect seeds on this one. They're probably ready. And look at my luck here with daisies. One completely died. This was, I think, a buy one, get one free. How ironic. And that one on the right seems to be okay. And here's the hollyhock. Ooh, there's 2 of them. Look at that. These are the dwarf ones, which look like they're about 4 feet tall versus the traditional ones that sometimes grow like up to 8 to 10 feet. So yeah. And there's some, there's my rose, which I'm going to find out next year which one this is, whether it's the Impressionist or Kiss Me Kate. This is probably Kiss Me Kate because I know Kiss Me Kate's usually really healthy the first year. This was planted late June. I wonder if the bunny's in here. He'll sit in here unless I bring the hose out. The bed of salvia that's all spent. I haven't been cutting on them because they dried up. There are those Rebecca, the ones that Garden Market in Sycamore asked me to trial. Prairie Sun. And as you can see, the bunnies started with the one in the back and finished off the one in the front. So this is the last of the sunflowers, and I've emptied this bed that had all the pumpkins and squash, and unfortunately the pumpkins took over the butternut squash and I was able to only harvest one. This one has bachelor's buttons, some zinnias, African daisies, some delphiniums, and a few cucumbers. And ooh, there is the Arbor Rose Honeymoon that is now doing so much better that the squash isn't, or the pumpkins aren't choking it out, that we're climbing up the arbor. I don't think that cucumber is looking too good. I don't know, we'll see. I wanted to show you this marigold and how long the stem is. It's going to come around. But basically, it's just this really long stem that has tons of branching. And I had been cutting off this one, this one, this one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get at least 6 flowering branches off the one. And I just wanted to show you how that works. And it's a really prolific marigold. So I'm going to use these shorter branches, probably just take this off, leave these three. This one won't flower, but I'll use this in a shorter arrangement. They're still wobbly, so I'm not going to take those, but this one is really nice. It's a really pretty one. See this one? That's too wobbly. You know, hollyhocks are really pretty to have in the garden, but I don't know if they're considered a viable cut flower. Let me know if any of you grow hollyhocks as a cut flower. I think they're just a lovely ornamental flower in the garden at the back of the border. I like how it's tall next to this arbor here. Probably can't see it, but I'll give you a closer look. At this stage, I'm compromising a lot of branching flowers just because I don't know if I'll be able to get out here after, not for another couple weeks. So, not sure if I mentioned, but we booked a last minute getaway to the east. I got some really great tickets for under $200, under $175 per person for a round trip to Boston. So my husband grew up in Maine, and there's a high school reunion going on, so it's not his year, but apparently he thinks it's a great idea to crash it all the way up in Freeport, Maine, which is a couple hours north of Boston. So we're going to drive up there and just catch the tail end of the reunion, and then stay in Portland, Maine, and do the surrounding area for a couple days. And then I've always wanted to go to Martha's Vineyard. I've been to Nantucket. Sadly, I haven't done the, hydrangea festival in July. A lot of people that I follow attended that this year, and I don't know why I didn't know about it. I obviously I'm influenced by hydrangeas on the East Coast and love them because of that. I think of New England like symbols. But anyway, I'm curious to see what the foliage will be like. Prices for hotels were definitely cheaper in Cape Cod versus the prices in Maine, and that's apparently because its fall colors are definitely the feature of Maine these days. So we're going to catch some of that, and hoping to get some cool footage. Oh, there's a beautiful monarch. Butterfly slash moth combination. Do you see that? The wings look like they're part monarch and part moth. So I'm going to have to Google that. He's showing off his wing. But isn't that beautiful? I saw that the other day and I was like, wow, looks like a monarch on half of the wing or quarter of the wing. But also, there's the orange profile, and it also looks like a moth. So yeah, I'm really thrilled to be able to cut from this bed because these were the last to bloom. Aww. Hollyhock. I'm not sure I kept the package to show that one, but it was definitely not an easy one to grow. We probably used the entire package of 30 some seeds, 35 seeds maybe, and only got a couple plants from it, and we direct sowed them. So at this stage, these Snapdragons, they're just amazing. I did not succession sow them, but I have been cutting on the same original plants that I planted in middle of May. So I actually didn't feel the need to succession sow them because they just kept coming back. Look at all this new growth here. And as long as you just keep cutting on them, they will just continue to grow. Not as tall as the originals, but look at these. They're all like short little stems. But they're nice little fillers. My original harvest back in June, I could definitely, I was definitely getting taller stems, but no sign of the rabbit. Here's a really nice one. Yeah, this was the only, I actually had done 2 beds with the Hortonova netting, and the bunny basically that was living here in this bed basically destroyed the netting. You can see it's kind of loosely there, but the center was definitely destroyed. So I know some people, some farms reuse theirs. I won't be able to. But look at this one. This is from a mix pack. And they're just going and going. Multiple stems. Side shoots. Here's the original stem, and they're shooting horizontally this way. Wow. Yeah. What an absolutely beautiful day. Yeah, this particular colorway, I'm sure, is part of a mix, and they don't even feature this sort of striped. Like, how do you put that in a vase with its original stem? You really can't. So I think I'm just going to use my little bud vases, put them in just for fun. Hope the rabbit's not in here because he's going to give me a heart attack if he jumps out all of a sudden after all this. Look at that. So cute. My stepdaughter was saying she didn't think I should grow Black Prince again, but because it's shorter, but it's a beautiful flower, especially for this time of year. So I beg to differ. Amazing. This is all black prints. And I've just been cutting on them, and I have to say these are some of the most beautiful blooms mid-September. Incredible. I should probably pick some Bachelor's buttons. So Bachelor's buttons are supposed to be a cool flower, and yet they're really late for me this year. And I think it's because I've self-seeded, or direct sowed them, I should say, into this bed, and I can actually do them, apparently, depending on your zone, up to 6 weeks before your first frost. Direct sow them now, 4 to 6 weeks before your first frost, and they will come back earlier next spring. Or put them in the ground. We are further north. We're in northern Illinois, zone 5B. I think I'm going to try doing them in early spring. Basically 6 to 8 weeks before the first frost. That way I don't have to wait until August, September to get my blooms like I did this year. I will get them early spring because they are a cool flower. Cool flower, hardy annual. So that's pretty exciting. I was a little disappointed in them because I had never grown them before, and I had thought that they were supposed to be the easiest flower, which they absolutely were because you just direct sowed them. But I was disappointed that they were so late in coming, and it turns out, you know, being new to cut flowers, that I should have treated them like a cool flower and sowed them before the last frost, I should say. I keep saying first frost, but, you know, I should have sown them earlier, before the last frost, 6 to 8 weeks before the last frost. So that would be February or March. However, our beds weren't ready until June, so that's why these didn't get direct sowed into these beds till June. So next year we will be much better prepared. I will have that much more knowledge under my belt, because that's really what it's all about, us learning. But there's so many new buds on these Bachelor buttons. It's great if we don't get a frost. But I think they might be they might be okay with some frost. Here's the purple zinnia right here. Look at it. It's still pretty, it's not super thick, but I'm gonna cut it. And there's some branching to the left, to the right, and one here. So I always seem to get, oh, here's another one. And she's a little bit, it's not bad, but I'm gonna cut her. Just the short version. Look at that. Look at that. Look at these. So pretty. So pretty. Oh, and I haven't cut these in a while. These African daisies. Let's get a couple of those in there. Just deadheading.
Hi there. Thanks for sticking with me. We have come to the part of the video where I'm going to go through my top 10 cut flowers. And without further ado, at number 10, and number 1 being my favorite, number 10 is Nasturtium Alaska Mix. I picked these up from Baker's Creek and I started them indoors 4 to 8 weeks before my last frost. You can also sow them outdoors. I planted these in a little Tupperware dish, just sprinkled a few seeds. Seeds are super large, and by the time they hardened off, they were really healthy and big, and I was able to even split them into 2 or 3 plants, and they've continued to grow, and they're a fabulous plant to protect your veggies from aphids and bugs and so forth. And I also cut them as a smaller cut flower with my shorter sunflowers in a small little vase that I did for my first fall arrangement. So love nasturtiums, and they're edible. Number 9, Seeker Blue Status. I got these from Johnny's. I actually neglected this flower. I only had a little 6-pack of seedlings and forgot them on the potting bench there, and put them into my raised bed, and they still grew, and they are a beautiful purple and lavender, and I have some pastel ones that I've got from Johnny's, and they maintain their color and they dry beautifully. So I will grow more of these next year, and that's the reason why they're number 9, because I only did a few. And coming in at number 8, Salvia. I planted Blue Monday from Baker's Creek, and I have more coming, or I have more that I ordered already that are in my photo box set, and these produced lovely 2-foot electric purpley blue plants, and they dried up a little bit earlier in the season, but that's why they're number 8. But I'm planting more, and I'm hoping that they will be even more prolific next season. So coming in at number 7, probably would be in my top 5 had I planted them sooner. As you know, as we talked about earlier, Bachelor's buttons are cool flowers, and I planted them quite late in June, only because our raised beds weren't ready until then. But these are something that you can plant now before your first frost if you're in a warmer climate, warmer zone, or you can plant them in early spring, like February, March, and they can handle some frost. So I direct sowed them. You can start them indoors, but these were a double flower on 3-foot high plants, and absolutely love these. And I also had the cherry bicolor Bachelor buttons in sky blue, royal blue, and burgundy rose. So love both of these. I will be planting them again, and I'll definitely be doing more and planting them sooner as cool flowers are to be planted. So coming in at number 6 are marigolds. I had these gorgeous Cracker Jacks mix, and they are a giant African type, big double bloom in yellow and deep orange, very floriferous, 30-inch plant, and boy, were they prolific. And I showed you earlier, there were like 6 flowers to 1 stem. Absolutely amazing, and great for summer, bright summer flowers, as well as into fall. And I also had the Kilimanjaro white that did get a little bug infested, but nevertheless a really beautiful flower. And coming in at number 5, Celosia. I have another couple bonus packs because they lost my order at MI Gardner, but I found my order. They shipped it to me eventually, and I got a 2nd pack. So if you need some, let me know. These started indoors 6 to 8 weeks. They were a beautiful feathery pastel yellow, pink, and raspberry to burgundy, and I started them indoors 6 to 8 weeks, and I will be planting more. Amaranth, gotta find me some more amaranth because love these. Here's one here, absolutely gorgeous, burgundy like my shirt, love it. Very tall plume like summer and fall, stays upright, very much a cut and come again flower. Absolutely love amaranth, and we'll do them again. These grow 48 to 60 inches tall, and you start them 4 to 6 weeks indoors. And coming in at number are Cosmos. Love these apricot lemonade Cosmos from Baker's Creek. Let me see here. Here's one here, and one here. Oops, right there. I'm going to try to zoom in on that. They're very delicate, and they have a long vase life, and love how kind of whimsical and wild they are in an arrangement, and very feminine. Apricot lemonade, silky soft palette, and I started these. You can direct sow them, or you can start them indoors. I believe I started mine indoors in soil blocks, but you can definitely direct sow them. Those pink ones that you see at Walmart and so forth. I've had those in the past. I actually have them over here getting rained on in pots. I direct sow those too, but love these for cut flowers. And also Cupcakes Blush, another favorite of mine. And they come in a combination of this delicate white as well as this sort of blushy pink. Absolutely love Cupcakes Blush. They are tied, maybe even my favorite Cosmo, next to my apricot lemonade. And I'm having a race to finish this video because it's getting too long. I'm so sorry. But are my zinnias. I direct sowed zinnias as well as did very successfully a 10-20 tray of soil blocks, and I will be doing that again in upcoming videos if you'd like. But these are the Queen Lime series. I did a bunch of colors, Queen Lime Blush, Queen Lime Red, and Queen Lime Orange, which I've shown you many times in the earlier part of the video. And Polar Bear, of course, love these. Kind of a little bug infested, but love, love, love this. And when I had a different package here, these are Zinnia Envy, which are the lime ones that have really large 3 to 4 inch blooms. I got these from the Red Butte Gardens in Utah. And of course, we have to have our Benary's Giants from Johnny's. And I had Salmon Rose, Carmine Rose. Can't tell you which is which, but there's salmon. There is a coral, I think. There's the bright pink, and then the bright purple, which I showed you at the end of the video, where I was in the bed. So they're kind of a pink, even though they're called purple. And I also had these lovely creamy yellow giant dahlia flowered zinnias that I had like 1,000 in a package. They kind of got wet when I left them outside. Bad move. And corals and bright pinks and purples I mentioned. And there's a formula mix I never opened. And Queenie Red Limes, of course. Here's a Queenie Red Lime. Such a favorite. Beautiful. So coming in at number 1, drum roll please, are my Snapdragons. Snapdragons were prolific, cut and come again, never had to succession plant. These were a mix here that called Lion's Mouth Snapdragons, and they were 12 to 24 inches tall. They had a mix of yellow here, a mix of pastel pinks, whites, all sorts of different colors, reds. And then I had the black print Snapdragon that I showed you that came in a very nice kind of burgundy, raspberry, beautiful, not as tall as some of the others, but definitely prolific and a wonderful addition to your arrangements, your fall arrangements in late summer or fall. And then of course my Tall Deluxe that came in kind of a orange, a mix of oranges and whites and corals and reds and berries, and I will grow these again. So thank you so much for joining me and making it to the end of my top 10 cut flowers, and we will see you again in the next video. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Bye-bye. Until next time.